Hey folks, it's Phoebe with Tripset Blooms. Today is hopefully the last day of bulb planting. I say hopefully because this is everything I've ordered. Like, this is the end of it. But I wouldn't put it past myself to find some sort of discount online or at the store and get suckered and plant more. Because you can always find more space for plants, right? Anyway, the last thing that is going in the ground are these daffodils, and they're called Dick Wilden. They're a double yellow type, so I have doubles that are white and yellow, like a cream and salmon color, but I last year was hoping, or this spring rather, was really wanting to have more yellow to mix in to kind of give it that pop. So we've got a few of those to try out, and then these other bags are bags of 100 tulips, and they're all mixes. So we have foxtrot and double mix, which will be like one variety I think is a pinky salmon color and the other is more orange. One bag is the Triumph mix, which is a single type, and then we've got the Prince mix, which I think had a lot of like parrot types in it. So these two aren't my more fancy ones. This one feels more like a fail-safe variety, and I'm going to be planting these into bulb crates. So I've been eagerly awaiting the day that I actually have bulb crates, and I ordered enough tulips this year that I ended up with 4 or 5. I said tulips, I think, and I meant daffodils. So these were crates of 400 daffodils earlier in the season that are already planted in the ground, thankfully. And so I'm going to be filling these with potting mix, I'm hoping that 100, I'm pretty sure 100 will fit in each one of those if I space them pretty tightly for the tulips. And then I think I'm going to leave them outside for now, and once winter really hits, bring them into the cold frame like tunnel thing that I'm in right now, so that they can be a little more protected. Last year I planted like 50 tulips in ground. About 5 of them actually came up, and then one by one they got eaten by gophers and pulled down. So it's not a crop I can really grow in ground unless I do a lot of infrastructure in terms of like laying down what's that stuff called, wire, like the hardwire cloth, and like something like this in ground. So that's not gonna happen. Anyway, also in here we have my dried flowers going. They definitely did photo bleach, so the ones that I dried inside, the stems are still green. But I still think like this is the part you look at, right? So I think it'll be fine. I think I'll still be able to use some of these and make something cute for myself. I don't really plan to sell any of it unless I really get a wild hair around the holidays, but the straw flowers look lovely. See, the ones that I have inside are more like this color. These are not fully dried though, so there's a little bit of different stages going on in here. Anyway, I just wanted to show what this looked like. I think a lot of these peppers will actually just end up eating because there's quite a few of them, but we'll see what creative fancy catches me later in the season, but I just wanted to give an update on that. And then there are still a few peppers in here. So I had dug up one in particular, this Scotch bonnet, because it was way behind everybody else because it was a smaller plant when we planted it. And we're trying to get it to a point where we can save seeds, and it is getting colorful there. And then we've still got, oh geez, is that, I don't know what that is. I think it might be one called Red Savina that we hadn't had mature ones off of yet, which not really red, is it? So we'll find out. And then we've got one that I was saving. This one is the Congo Red. We're going to try to take that plant inside, and we're going to try to take this, pretty sure this is a lemon starburst. Yeah, we're going to try to take that one inside and overwinter it. It hasn't been cold enough yet for me to really begin to worry about this because this is keeping it pretty warm in here. So I've just been letting it hang out because until we hit closer to 25 degrees, I don't think this is going to be a problem. And I really would like some of these to mature because there's a ton on here. This one little plant is absolutely loaded. So we'll see what kind of peppers we get off of that. Anyway, let's get to the bulb part of the day with these lovely friends over here. So the first step, based on what I've read online and just trying to grow stuff in flats before they have open bottoms, is line it. So this is very basic. It's just the cardboard that came on top of the bulbs. So when I ordered these bulbs, the daffodils that were in these crates, there was a layer of cardboard on top. So I saved it, and it fits very snugly and tightly down at the bottom. So there's one of those at the bottom of every single one of these. And then we're going to lay out the tulips and space them out as evenly as we can into these crates. and then cover them up with soil. So we're gonna hop to the next step. So we've got all the tulips lined up in these crates. They're pretty close together, but theoretically that will help force them to grow more upright. So when you space plants together closely, they're gonna seek light and push up more. So theoretically you'll get a better stem length out of that. So we've got 3 crates with 100 different bulbs in each one. I shoved the tags in the side there of each one as I went, and then when I'm done, I'll pull it out and like kind of stick it on top with a rock. The next step is to cover this with a few inches of dirt or potting mix, as it is actually kneeling in that right now, and then find a place that's out of the wind and out of the sunlight pretty much for the next couple months, to just have them kind of sit and stratify through the winter, because they do need a certain amount of cool hours, which we're not going to struggle to hit here. Even if I planted them in like another month or so, I think they would still get enough cold time. But yeah, this is an experiment in part to see if I can get flowers for around Mother's Day. And planting in crates is pretty versatile because, for one, it avoids the whole gopher situation, hopefully. And if I cover them tightly, it'll avoid anything digging them up, which is easier to do when you can just stack these all up and then put something on top. And then also you can kind of moderate the conditions they have in pretty easily by moving them around. So I'm hoping probably once we start hitting really cold temperatures, if it gets down around 5 or 10 degrees again this year, this is in Fahrenheit, I'll pop them into that, which I think I mentioned already. And then I can use that tunnel also to speed them up or take them out to slow them down, I think. So we'll see. It's a whole big experiment. We'll see what happens. Either way, I look forward to hopefully having some beautiful flowers that are not all entirely eaten by gophers. So the audio for this chunk was really awful because it's super windy, so I'm just redubbing it, I guess. But I'm showing where I'm going to plant the last of the daffodils, and I think I mentioned in this clip that I had planted a few more types, including Geranium, Red Devon, and British Gamble. So those were a few more varieties that had gone in recently. And then we're putting in the Dick Wildens in this area here. And then we'll eventually mulch, and we'll have close to 2,500 daffodils in this area in the rose garden, which is super exciting. And in addition, we'll have a few hundred? No, almost close to 1,000 of other bulbs, which I've mentioned before. And then I was exclaiming about how this Nicotiana remains unfazed by the frosts. So this species apparently is more frost hardy than some of the others that I have, because there's lots of them that all volunteered in a row here that are still kicking along just fine. There's not really a lot of bugs left. It's been cold enough to kind of put them to bed. And there's still roses doing their thing. And that's about that for this clip. So here I was just showing the trench. It's very, very homemade. It's all by hand. So if I had a tiller or something I could dig a trench with, this would go a lot faster and I would be doing better spacing. But you can see I kind of pre-dug the whole area and it goes down to where the grass ends. So there is more space where I could squeeze more bulbs in, but this is also the last rose bush in this row, and then the rest are shrubs. So the shrubs will get a good bit bigger than the rose bushes will, and so I realistically shouldn't be planting more back behind there because they'll get all shaded out. But anyway, so I dug a little trench and placed all the bulbs in, making sure all the growth points are pointing upright. And then I'll take those big clumps of dirt and wiggle the actual loose soil off of them, and then put them back in kind of grass side down so that hopefully it'll kill the grass off and won't create a bunch of competition for the bulbs. And then the next step will be, after that, will be actually mulching them and getting that step done so that they all kind of match the other bulbs that have been planted. The roses look really phenomenal still. They're not, putting on new flowers necessarily. They're just blooming out what they already have. But this one is a climber called Honeymoon, and this has been blooming. This cluster has been blooming for well over a week now, I think. So you can see the central flowers pretty much toast, and there's these outer ones that are still coming on. So I'm really looking forward to that one once we actually have an arch to put on it. And then I planted a bunch of pansies again this year. with the roses so that we could have pansies in the fall and they'll come back in the spring if, you know, as long as they act the same way as they did last year. No. So who did we lose? Oh man. That is gopher kill, 100%. I don't see a tag. Oh man, I'm gonna take this and put it in water and see if we can't. So I'm gonna whack it way down, put it in really wet soil and see if we can't save it, but that is unfortunate. Fiji. Oh, dang it. Well, I guess I'm glad I went and looked at that one. I wondered about it because it looked like it was showing frost damage, but none of the rest of them were. Oh man, well, okay, great. Anyway, we got pansies, and they're just hanging on. They look nice. There's even freaking aphids still, which is less exciting. So we do need a hard freeze to knock some of these back. Like a hard freeze, not the into the 30s and whatnot we've been getting. Well, that's disappointing. I'm glad I noticed that when I did. But they're just trundling along. Hopefully they're doing nice root development right now. I don't really know where this honeywort came from, but it's looking really lush right now. It'll die once we get a really hard freeze, but it looks lovely right now. The peonies, I let go. I never cut them back at all, even when they got mildewy, because I want them to put on as much root development as possible. Unfortunately, I think this is fire and ice or something. Who is this? Dark Knight. Appears to be pretty susceptible to mildew of some kind, which is unfortunate, but we'll see. But anyway, I'm gonna go take care of that rose now. What a disappointing find, but at least I found it. And yeah, that's where we're at with the whole bulb situation. I'm gonna leave on this pansy because it's just phenomenal. It's pretty large. I think it's like one of those King Swiss mix or something like that. But thanks for watching. Hope you got something out of this and you have a wonderful rest of your day.